Mobile water, unique in every way.
Hello, good afternoon. This is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, and on myjoyonline.com. We're also live in all 16 regions of Ghana on Radio Max Takrade, Castle FM, Cape Coast, Buipe FM, Buipe, and Dreams FM, Bolgatanga. And also live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol, your clean fuel in full quantity. Petrosol, always a delightful experience. This afternoon, students begin to take their destinies into their own hands. A strike by colleges of education teachers enters its 64th day with no hope in sight for a solution. Also, the colleges are now almost deserted as students who can no longer bear the high cost of staying in school return home. We have details of that coming up shortly. Also in this bulletin, leader of the Movement for Change, Kyerematen, vows to scrap the president's power of appointing ministers, as well as ensuring that his appointees declare their assets publicly.
If half of your ministers are in parliament, then can parliament be truly an oversight body? It can't. How are you financing that? So there has to be a real-time tracking.
We have details of his encounter with the media in Accra yesterday, where he adored his blueprint for rescuing Ghana from its current economic situation. Also, sponsors of anti-LGBTQ bill labels President Akufo-Addo's nominee to the Supreme Court as a threat to their bill as it comes under intense scrutiny at the Appointments Committee.
I want to put it to you that as a sponsor of the bill, the Ghanaian Family Values Bill, I think it will be a danger when you get onto the bench in terms of our anti-LGBT activities.
I think I vehemently reject that view.
We have details of that as the fate of the two nominees hang in the balance after the committee split in a vote during the that decision making. Now we have questions to answer. Words of John Mahama to NPP running mate Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as he serves notice of an audit of the Dachi bond spearheaded by the former education minister.
Maame has his own cross to carry. He himself, that running mate, has questions to answer.
Revolution.
We have sports.
Independent presidential aspirant Kyerematen criticized his government's approach to sports development and pledges to revamp the sector if elected.
Also coming up, CSOs in the water, sanitation and hygiene vow to hold all political parties accountable, demanding that WASH policies become integral to their manifestos.
The SDGs 6 in 2030 is still out of reach.
We have advocated for the National Sanitation Authority.
We need that overarching regulations.
We'll hear from the political parties which are promising to prioritize WASH policies.
There is a need to increase public spending on sustainable WASH delivery.
The total urban water supply coverage was around 56.5%.
Within 2 years, Kyerematen promises to eliminate galamsey from Ghana.
These and more with me, Maame, Nyamekye, Thompson. Joy News, independent, fearless and credible journalism. Stay with us. This afternoon, students of the colleges of education are beginning to take their destinies into their own hands. A strike by colleges of education teachers enters its 64th day with no hope in sight for a solution. Scores have for their homes, while the few remaining on campuses demand closure to ease the burden of rent, feeding and other costs. The students say they have almost given up on hoping for a return of their teachers to the classroom anytime soon. They said the long period of the strike has disrupted their activities and affected their finances, leading to majority of their colleagues going home.
Well, I think it makes sense because since our cries for the lecturers to return to the classroom hasn't been heard, we would want to go home because feeding on campus and not going to lectures is too much to bear. So we'd rather be at home. When they return, they will also come back.
Nobody is holding you to go home financially, and
well, our parents mostly believe that when we're on campus we study, so they actually put in efforts to help us sustain ourselves.
There are some of us that have left, a lot of them. For me, I like to study a lot, and I came with an aim to attain a first class, so I've decided to put it upon myself that I put in much effort. But it seems I'm also getting tired because of what is happening at the moment. Yeah, but most of my friends have left.
Let's go live now to my colleague Kenneth JC, who's been interacting with some students this morning. Kenneth, what other observations have you made since?
Well, the campus looked more deserted today than it did when last I was there. And then an SRC executive told me that more than 60% of the students have left the campus since the strike began. Now, although a majority of the students are in favor of the closure of the school, as you rightly heard, the final year students want the school to remain open. Now, this is because they were originally supposed to complete school in the last quarter of this year, but since the strike has distorted the academic calendar, they're already anticipating a longer stay in school, and they fear if the schools are shut down in the midst of the strike, their time of completion will delay even further.
Well, Kenneth, you are at an event where the Education Minister is present. Has he made any comments regarding the strike?
Not yet, but I am at the launch of the Ghana Teacher Prize, which is currently underway. Now, Deputy Education Minister Reverend Intim Fojo has commended the Ghanaian teacher as being the best on the continent and one of the best in the world. He says that Ghanaian teachers have helped with a smooth implementation of the free senior high school, which has led to a higher enrollment of students when it began in 2017 till now, Maame.
Thank you very much, Kenneth JC there. And to our election headquarters, brought to you by Petrosol Clean Fuel in full quantity. CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, CIMA, AICPA and CIMA together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Also, the German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, Chopbox Technologies, A Convenience Service and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development. Now, Movement for Change leader Alan Kyerematen has promised to review Article 78 of the Constitution if elected president to promote accountability. This constitutional provision currently grants the head of state powers to select ministers with a majority from Parliament. But Mr. Kyerematen says this undermines their ability to effectively oversee the actions of the executive. During a media encounter yesterday, Newsfile host Thompson wondered how he'll mobilize support for this amendment, seeing it may require parliamentary approval and subsequently a referendum. Here's how Mr. Kyerematen responded.
That particular provision in our laws even reduces the substance of our checks and balances as a country. Because if half of your ministers are in parliament, then can parliament be truly an oversight body? It can't. You don't even have the time to do two things: serving as member of the executive and also doing your work as all these things. We are aware of them. Why is it that we have allowed it to persist? But obviously, you have to come into power before you have the capacity to undertake the reforms. So what is going to happen? All that this GTP is saying is that, yes, we will abide by the Constitution until it is changed. But it only means that the ministers will be appointed, half of the ministers will be appointed from those in Parliament. But now, because of your own record and of your own capacity, you will serve in a government of national unity. What a joy! What a joy that you are singled out now to become a member of the government of national unity, although you went to parliament. It will come from party parliamentarians who are selected not on the basis of the parties, but on the basis of their own merit.
Well, Mr. Kyerematen also indicated that if he's elected president, he will ensure his appointees declare their assets publicly for accountability.
How is it that somebody finishes school, he has never done any work before, all of a sudden, the guy has built houses, not just a house, and you can see that his circumstances have changed without explanation. So there has to be a real-time tracking of how public officers are responding to the demands of these provisions. And the only way is through you call lifestyle audit. I know some people feel very uncomfortable with that.
While on corruption, Mr. Kyerematen indicated that he will create a second chamber in Parliament to oversee the appointments of independent constitutional bodies.
Special prosecutor, Anna Samuel Mobo, or Bonnie now so power of the special prosecutor is a delegated power and authority from the Attorney General. And then I say, who are power so frankly, you know, just say, and your power be a was consult in our quantia. And we say, no, under the new constitutional reforms now making, there's going to be a second chamber of Parliament. For appointments like this, you know, the president has no business appointing anti-corruption chief.
And you heard the leader of Movement for Change, Alan Kyerematen, still on politics. The NDC flag bearer, John Mahama, has served notice that he will go after anyone found to have misused or misappropriated funds from the Dachi bond, stating that NPP running mate Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has questions to answer. Speaking during a youth forum in Hull Tuesday night, Mr. Mahama said that those found to have misused any of these funds after an audit will be made to account if the NDC is elected. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
Revolution. The NDC flag bearer visited 4 constituencies on the first day of his tour of the Volta region. Speaking later in the evening at a youth forum at the Hull Technical University, he said the cost of paying academic facility user fees for level 100 first year university students is estimated to be between 270 and 290 million Ghana cedis.
The president, a few years ago, his travel budget for traveling in 9 months amounted to 69 million Ghana cedis. They held one cabinet retreat at the presidency, one cabinet retreat. You know how much it cost? It cost almost 5 million Ghana cedis. There is so much waste in the system. And even if you look at the Office of President budget alone, you'll be able to cut to raise enough money to pay fees, academic facility user fees for all level 100 students.
He says the NPP running mate and former Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has questions to answer on the Dachi bond, saying that persons who played any dubious roles will be made to account.
This person who is the running mate to Baumia was the Minister of Education. He brought a bond to Parliament called the Dachi bond. It has led to a collateralization of the GET fund. So this year, total receipts from the GET fund should amount to about 7 billion cedis. About 4 billion of that was taken in the Dachi bond by Napo and his Ministry of Education.
But what does the NDC flag bearer make of the president's slip mentioning his name instead of Vice President Baumia at a recent event?
Out of abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. And so when the president goes and he's talking about his administration and he says, Akufo-Addo Mahama administration, oh, this is unpardonable. It means he dreamt about me the night before. And it's not only him, even his chairman, Ashanti chairman. And so, was he speaking to you in English? So everyone should vote for John Dramani. Hey! He also dreamt about me that night before. We can read their minds from what they are thinking and what they are dreaming about. The time has come for us to take our destiny into our own hands.
Meanwhile, the Agbagbo of the Asogli State, Togbi Afede, the 14th, has waded into the controversial Age of Part document debate, stating that while it is difficult to believe the content, certain experiences, including those involving his own company, suggest the contrary. Speaking during the visit of the NDC flag bearer, the former president of the National House of Chiefs expressed concern over the numerous scandals affecting the country.
I recall that in 2019 thereabout, we received a letter for us to sign, pre-written in our name, to resign from the group of companies that advise government on this bond issue. That came as a shock. Another time, we had a commercial paper outstanding with a state-owned financial institution.
Now let's do fact check. We're focusing on some recent claims by former President John Mahama on the state of the Ghanaian youth at a recent youth town hall meeting here in Accra. Head of our research desk, Raymond Akwa, joins me in the studio with more on the claims and the verdict. Raymond, what exactly did the NDC flag bearer say?
Mr. Mahama first claimed the rate of unemployment is on the rise.
The rising unemployment rate, which currently stands at a staggering 14.7%.
Now, according to the 2023 Annual Household Income and Expenditure Survey by the Statistical Service, average unemployment rate for the first 3 quarters of 2023 was indeed 14.7%. This sharp rise in unemployment rate of females between the 4th quarter of 2022 and the 2023 first quarter culminated in the wide gender gap in 2023 relative to 2022. This is even though the 14.7 for quarter 3 is lower than the 14.9 recorded in the first quarter of the same year, 2023. He then narrowed down to the unemployment rate for the youth.
Other statistics that show the dire situation of Ghanaian youth is a 21.7% youth unemployment rate.
Indeed, this is backed by the Statistical Services 2023 quarterly labor statistics that states that youth unemployment for persons 15 to 24 years, that is the 29.7%, is 8 percentage points higher than those of 15 to 35 years, which is the 21.7%. But as you may well be aware, the UN definition of youth is that of 15 to 24, but Ghana keeps it within the range of 15 to 35. So yes, it is right that it's 21.7%. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Raymond Akwa is head of our research desk. Now to Parliament. Sponsors of the anti-LGBTQ bill say a nominee of President Akufo-Addo to the Supreme Court, Professor Richard Frimpong, is a threat to their bill. The nominee came under intense questioning following an article he wrote advocating for the property rights of same-sex couples to be respected and protected. NDC MP for South Dai at the appointment committee suggested that the nominee will likely seek to outlaw the bill if he gets to the Supreme Court, a position the nominee, Professor Richard Frimpong, strongly rejected.
I want to put it to you that as a sponsor of the bill, the Ghanaian Family Values Bill, I think it will be a danger when you get onto the bench in terms of our anti-LGBT activities.
I think I vehemently reject that view, that if I get to the Supreme Court, I'll be a danger to anything that you're talking about. As I said, I have clearly explained the subject matter that I wrote about. I have indicated the caveats that we put in it.
Meanwhile, the approval of the two nominees is currently hanging in the balance after the Appointments Committee failed to achieve consensus. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante sat through the vetting and has joined me in studios with details. Now, Kweku, what other reasons are the minority opposing the nominees?
So when it comes to the two nominees in general, the minority say that the president ought to have published a CI if he was appointing persons beyond the constitutional 9 persons plus the Chief Justice. But if you narrow it down again to Professor Frimpong, they say that Professor Frimpong is a Canadian as well. And if he gets to the Supreme Court, will become the first Ghanaian person who is also a dual citizen who is on the Supreme Court. And it's something they are pressing him to renounce or face their rejection.
Okay. What is the motivation to be a citizen of two countries? Are you not satisfied to be a Ghanaian? Why do you want to take up another citizenship of another country?
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I certainly am very happy with my Ghanaian citizenship. I have no problem with that. But usually when you travel and you want very good job opportunities, preference is given to citizens. So for example, in Canada, if you want a really good job, you have to be either a citizen or a permanent resident. And to take advantage of those opportunities, to the extent that you qualify for it, I know a lot of Ghanaians who are also citizens of Canada for that purpose.
I lived abroad. I had a good job, but I didn't need to take up additional citizenship. Do you intend to renounce your citizenship?
It's something that I've been thinking about, but it's certainly not a requirement for this job. But it's certainly something that I've been thinking about.
I find it very difficult knowing that allegiance and citizenship are the same, being equated according to the Supreme Court, to accordingly recommend you for approval. For me, that is a very difficult one, and that is why I ask you.
Does it even make sense to appoint somebody to the Supreme Court for over almost 30 years for a lifetime appointment who is a dual citizen, who should be sitting here talking about it? I think I say this to support, and every reasonable Ghanaian will be upset over this matter.
Well, Kweku, so there was subsequently a vote. How did it go?
The committee is now split. The committee is ordinarily made up of 15 members. Joe Wise is the chair, but Joe Wise has not been around, the first deputy speaker. So 7-7 on each side. That means there's going to be a showdown on the floor. These two nominees would have to be subjected to a secret vote when that happens in September this year.
Kweku Asante is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, and you're still listening to the Midday News live on Joy 99.7 FM. And you're coming in, the Public Accounts Committee has just referred General Legal Counsel for prosecution over uncompetitive procurement worth over 30,000 cedis. And my colleague James Aveji is there for us and joins me on the line with details. James, what can you report?
Maame, so I can report that the General Legal Counsel have been referred to the Ghana School of Law, actually have been referred to the Attorney General's Department for prosecution over procurement breaches amounting to some 327,000 Ghana cedis. And this involves at least 17 entities on different procurement between 2021 and 2022. The Auditor General's report indicated that this is in breach of the Procurement Act, and management responded to that if you look at the quotations for the individual procurement, they do not think that it calls for competitive tendering from other institutions. That's why they did sole sourcing. But the PAC disagree with them, referring the matter to the Attorney General's Department for prosecution. Maame.
Thank you so much, James Aveji, and he'll be bringing us more from the Public Accounts Committee in later bulletins. You're still listening to the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM. We will take a break. We'll return with sports, and also CSOs in the water, sanitation and hygiene vow to hold all political parties accountable, demanding that policies become integral to their manifestos.
The SDGs 6 in 2030 is still out of reach.
We have advocated for the National Sanitation Authority.
We need that overarching regulations.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Doctors,
nurses,
barbers,
drivers,
bouncers,
friends,
teachers,
bankers.
Let's go.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah. The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone, yeah.
Doctors,
nurses,
barbers,
drivers,
bouncers,
friends,
teachers,
bankers. The luckiest. You could be the luckiest.
Join us on this exciting journey as the next chapter begins. On Sunday, 18th August 2024, under the distinguished patronage of the chairman of the New Patriotic Party, the flag bearer and presidential candidate, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and his running mate, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the NPP unveils the bold solutions to today's challenges. Tune in to your favorite TV channel and radio station and join us as we show the path to a brighter tomorrow. All roads lead to Secondary Takoradi on Sunday, August 18th at 1 p.m.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports.
Yes, so Maame, Ghana's performance obviously at the just ended Olympic Games disappointed many. And you look at none of the 8 athletes managed to qualify for the finals in the 3 events they participated in. Now, and that highlights the ongoing decline in the performance of Ghanaian sportsmen and women at major competitions. Now, independent candidates, Kyerematen, seems to have found a solution to the problem.
Government has the wrong approach, has the wrong business model with sports. If government thinks that they can use government budget to develop sports, it ain't gonna happen. That is why if you read through the sports section, it's all about government empowering the private sector to establish sports academies and sports infrastructure and facilities of the highest standard. If a private person is investing, he will make sure that he does it very well, and he will maintain them. And he knows that you're also going to benefit from them. If you don't have world-class infrastructure in sports, you can't develop world-class sportsmen.
Yeah, that's independent presidential aspirant Alan Kyerematen. Back to you.
Thank you, Mubarak. Now, Keta, an Asian city, faces a crisis as the National Disaster Management Organization warns that 5,000 homes along the coast could be lost to the sea within 5 years if urgent actions are not taken to protect the rapidly eroding shoreline. In part 1 of our climate-focused Vanishing Shores, Joy News' Carlos Coloni highlights the devastating impact of the rising ocean levels on livelihoods in the area.
A 2017 World Bank's report highlights that coastal dwellers in Ghana face significant threat from the rising sea levels. This will lead to increased flooding and coastal erosion, which will jeopardize homes, infrastructure, and livelihoods, particularly in fishing communities. In 2021, the National Disaster Management Organization reported that 200 plus homes were destroyed by these high tides in the Keta municipality alone, which rendered about 4,000 residents displaced.
We have a lot of the house here, sea come to spoil. And the summer house too, the sea come to spoil. They have a lot of about 150 houses. We go on the sea inside.
This is my house, but the sea spoil them. Spoil my canoe, my everything, my 3 bedrooms, everything spoiled. But right now I sleep for outside.
The municipal NADMO director, God knows, Blebu, tells me 2/3 of the main Keta town now has already been swallowed by the sea.
239 houses for now are affected. Some are partially collapsed, some are entirely gone, and those people living in those houses now, some left the town, some are living with their other family members. The main Keta Central, about 2/3, is in the sea. If nothing is being done, I'm afraid about 4,000 to 5,000 houses along the coast here will be gone. In a matter of 5 years to come, all those houses will be gone.
Here is Michael Bumegbe, the chief fisherman of the Keji Copper community.
In 2021, tidal waves destroyed many things, including 16 boats, fishing gears, and outboard motors. This situation is negatively impacting our fishing business.
So the devastating impact of the rising levels of the sea is biting hard on residents here in Keta. My name is Carlos Coloni for Joy News.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Youth Bridge Foundation and Climate Development Knowledge Network. Now, civil society organizations in the wash sector have vowed to hold all political parties accountable, demanding that policies become integral to their manifestos. They're pushing for the creation of a national sanitation authority and urging the Ministry of Local Government to take over responsibilities. Meanwhile, political parties are promising to prioritize wash. Here's a wrap of Joy News' national dialogue on climate change and wash.
Sanitation and hygiene are critical in Ghana, especially as climate change worsens water scarcity, flooding, and sanitation issues. At the dialogue, some political parties presented their vision for the wash sector. The NPP, represented by Engineer Kwabena Kokofu, says they are looking to increase funding to the wash sector.
There is a need to increase public spending on sustainable wash delivery.
The NDC says they will make sure to complete all outstanding projects and increase rural access to wash facilities.
The total urban water supply coverage was around 56.5%.
The movement for change is talking tough. Courage Nobi is the Deputy Director of Policy.
Within 2 years, Kyerematen promises to eliminate galamsey from Ghana.
But the CSOs have demands of their own. Head of Strategy, Policy and Campaign at Water Aid, Ibrahim Musa, says they are pushing for a national sanitation authority.
Then that authority can have very clear defined relationship with institutions such as Institute of Engineers and
Michael Ashali with that report. And right about now, we do what's trending. Jackie, this time around, joins us on the line because she's at a special event that is later welcoming Kirk Franklin to town. Jackie, what's happening?
Well, Effie, so currently I'm at the presser and preparation is still underway for the event on Sunday. And currently they are doing the build-up for the event. Those are the construction works. Even though it's on Sunday, they've already kick-started at the site at the ICGC temple at Teshi, and they are urging patrons to pass through on Sunday, and they are hoping to give all the Christians who are coming around, all the people coming around, a blast. Yeah.
Jackie, tell us a little about the event. What's going to happen?
Well, so Kirk Franklin, Maverick City, Tim Godfrey, and other amazing local Ghanaian artists, that's Joe Metal, Luigi Maxine, Team Eternity are all expected to be here on Sunday at 3 p.m. at the ICGC temple at Teshi. And it's expected to be an amazing concert. It's already trending on social media because people are excited to, especially for Kirk Franklin. You know, he was in Ghana. The last time he was here was 11 years ago.
And that's Jacqueline and Sumaya giving us updates on the impending visit of Kirk Franklin for a big gospel concert. That's how we end the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Was also live on Love 99.5 in Kumasi and around the world at myjoyonline.com. I am Nyamekye Thompson. Up next is Living Word with Pastor Mensa Otabil.